The galaxy was an unforgiving expanse, where danger lurked in every corner. But no place exemplified this better than Nixon, a vibrant hub at the crossroads of countless star systems. The planet was a melting pot of species, each with its own complex agendas. Despite its lively markets and towering spires, Nixon had long been a haven for mercenaries and assassins, dangerous individuals who would kill for the right price. For Dr. Ella Radine, a renowned xenobiologist, the bustling world of Nixon was both a playground and a challenge. A scholar at heart, Ellara had always found herself drawn to the human species, a peculiar anomaly in the galaxy. While many species were fiercely competitive, humans seemed to possess something deeper. Despite their physical fragility, humans had an uncanny resilience, one that fascinated Ellara. There was a persistent rumor that humans were the only species immune to assassination. In a galaxy where assassins were the deadliest form of combat, the most reputable assassin guilds the Shadows, known for their silent and precise kills, had failed time and time again to eliminate even the most ordinary human. The usual weapons, the poisons, the psychological traps, and even the advanced alien tech used by these assassins, none worked on humans. Even a rookie assassin could be frustrated by this strange phenomenon. Ellara, intrigued by this mystery, had been collecting data on the human genome for years. Her mission was to uncover the scientific reason behind this anomaly. Was it their biology? Or was it something more, a mental block, a psychological defense? No one had taken the time to study this carefully, and as she dug deeper into the human genome, Ellara found herself stumbling upon clues that suggested a far more dangerous truth than she ever expected. IT began with a visit to the Nixon Research Institute's archives, where Ellara had gained access to the old records of an ancient alien race. These records, long hidden from public knowledge, hinted at a biological anomaly present in humans. As Ellara reviewed the cryptic files, she felt her heart race. The documents spoke of human genetics being altered by a now extinct species known as the Exorliths. This species, far advanced in technology, had once found humans on a young Earth, and after careful experimentation, embedded a specific genetic trait into humanity. The trait was subtle but deadly in its implications. Humans were designed to survive, to endure beyond the boundaries of what any other species could tolerate. But that was only the beginning. As Ellara continued her research, she uncovered another piece of information: humans had been genetically engineered to resist assassination attempts by advanced extraterrestrial methods. The Exorliths had created them as the ultimate protectors. Even when faced with the galaxy's deadliest assassins, humans' resilience made them nearly impossible to eliminate. Ellara was both elated and disturbed by what she was learning. This discovery could change everything. The galaxy's power dynamics, the balance between the species. If this knowledge became public, it could spark a revolution. Humanity could become the dominant force in the galaxy, the perfect defense against those who had once believed themselves untouchable. But there were complications. On the heels of her discovery, Elara's life took a darker turn. Her close colleague, Lieutenant Commander Theron Icard, a high-ranking officer in the Nixon Defense Council, was found dead under mysterious circumstances. At first, the cause seemed clear: an apparent suicide brought on by stress, perhaps from recent political tensions. But Ellara wasn't so sure. Theron had been one of the few who knew about her work, and the timing of his death seemed too coincidental. Something was wrong. Elara's gut told her that his death wasn't just a casualty of the pressure of the times, it was part of something much bigger. Someone didn't want her to uncover the truth. As she delved deeper into her research, Ellara realized that she was being watched. Surveillance systems around Nixon's moons, once used for routine security, were now tracking her every move. Even her encrypted communications were being intercepted. Whoever was responsible for Theron's death was now trying to silence her. But why? What was so important about this discovery? Why were the galaxy's most lethal assassins so determined to stop her from revealing the truth? Her suspicions grew as she discovered more encrypted files hidden within the Nixon archives files that connected the human genome to a much darker purpose. The assassin guilds, the Shadows, the Nightblades, and the Black Mist had been failing in their attempts to eliminate humans for decades. Their frustration was well known among the galaxy's underworld. But what if they were not just frustrated by failure? What if the assassins themselves had been tasked with something far more sinister, preventing the human species from realizing their full potential? As Alara worked late into the night, piecing together ancient and fragmented data, she made another startling discovery. The Exorlith's experiment with humanity had not been a mere act of curiosity. It was part of a larger intergalactic defense strategy. Humans were designed to defend the galaxy from something far more dangerous than assassins. Something that, in time, would threaten the very existence of all species. But that knowledge, the true purpose of humanity's resilience, had been buried, hidden away for a reason. Alara now faced a choice. She could go public with what she had uncovered, revealing the truth about humanity's origins and their power. Or she could remain silent and protect the secret, knowing that the galaxy's future might depend on it. Either way, she couldn't escape the fact that the universe had just learned that humanity was not what it seemed. Dr. Alara Dean had thought that the hardest part of her research would be uncovering the secret of humanity's immunity. But what she had discovered was just the beginning of a story far darker and more complicated than she could have imagined. The ancient artifact she had decrypted revealed far more than just humanity's unique biological resilience. It laid bare a deep and unsettling truth about their origins. The Exorliths, the long-extinct race that had altered the human genome, hadn't just created humans to survive assassination. They had engineered humanity as a weapon to combat the growing threat of a powerful assassin syndicate that spanned the galaxy, the Eclorian Empire. The Eclorians, led by a race of cold, calculating beings, had a secret army of assassins known as the Shadows, who were nearly unstoppable. They had wiped out countless species, ensuring the Eclorians' dominance across the stars. But the Exorliths had seen the Empire's rise and realized that if something wasn't done, the Eclorians would soon rule every corner of the galaxy. In response, they had created humanity as an ultimate safeguard. Not only did humans possess remarkable biological resilience, but their minds were equipped with an inborn resistance to the manipulations of the galaxy's most dangerous assassins. A mental immunity, one that could block telepathic influence, mental subjugation, and emotional control, a skill the assassins relied upon to manipulate their victims. It was this ability that allowed humans to survive assassination attempts, making them effectively invisible to those who sought to kill them. The implications of this discovery shook Dr. Dean to her core. The Eclorians knew about humanity's potential and had spent centuries trying to control it, hiding their true purpose from the galaxy. Dr. Dean's research had revealed a pattern, a quiet, galaxy-wide conspiracy to suppress humanity's growth. Those who had once ignored humans as a weak species were now watching them with newfound interest. If humanity ever fully realized their purpose, they could become the greatest threat to the established galactic order. They would no longer be the underdogs. They would be the ultimate force. The political and military powers of the galaxy began to take notice. Dr. Dean's discovery had sparked an unexpected shift. Factions that had dismissed humanity were now sending their most elite operatives to silence her and prevent the truth from spreading. The whispers of an ancient, forgotten war between the Eclorians and the Exorliths grew louder. And soon Dr. Dean realized she wasn't just being hunted by assassins, she was being pursued by some of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. Her previous notion that humanity was a curious anomaly in the galaxy now seemed to be. Humanity wasn't just a species that survived, it had been designed to fight, to push back against an ancient threat far greater than anything Dr. Dean had imagined. The deeper she dug, the more dangerous it became. The galaxy's powers wanted her silence. They were afraid of the truth she was unearthing. But Dr. Dean wasn't the only one caught in this web of intrigue. Nyx, one of the Eclorian Empire's most notorious agents, had been sent to eliminate her. Nyx was a legend among assassins, a being forged in the cold, heartless training grounds of the Eclorian Empire. His mind was sharp, his skills deadly, and he had killed countless targets across the galaxy. He had never hesitated, never faltered until now. Nyx had known about humanity's unique resistance for years. The Eclorians had watched humans from the shadows, hoping to exploit their potential for their own purposes. Nyx himself had been tasked with hunting down and neutralizing the potential threats humanity posed. However, when he had first set his sights on Dr. Dean, he hadn't anticipated the complexity of her research. Her work revealed something far beyond just the power of human survival. She had stumbled onto the deeper conspiracy surrounding the Eclorians, and it was this discovery that made Nix question everything. On his first attempt to eliminate Dr. Dean, as he observed her, he saw something in her eyes, an understanding, a resolve that he hadn't expected from someone who was supposed to be weak, fragile. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to her than he had been led to believe. In a rare moment of doubt, he aborted the mission. But even as he walked away, the nagging question haunted him. Why had the Eclorian Empire kept humanity in the dark about their true nature? Despite his orders, Nix couldn't shake the growing suspicion that the Eclorians had been hiding something far darker than even he could fathom. The deeper Dr. Dean's research went, the more it seemed like the galaxy was built on a web of lies. Humanity had been engineered to be a weapon, but against what? And why had the Eclorian Empire gone to such lengths to ensure humans never reached their full potential? As Dr. Dean continued her work, she began to uncover more disturbing details. The immunity humans displayed wasn't just a biological defense, it was psychological as well. The assassins had long relied on mental manipulation as their primary tool. Whether through telepathy, emotional manipulation, or subtle mental control, they could make their targets weak, confused, or even suicidal. But when they came for humans, something resisted them. No matter how sophisticated the method, the human mind fought back. This psychological defense, unique to humans, was key to their survival. Dr. Dean realized that humanity's greatest weapon was not just their biology, but their minds. And this power, if unleashed, could pose a grave threat to the entire galaxy. But it was a double-edged sword. While humanity could use this power to protect itself, it could also be exploited, corrupted, or weaponized in ways that no one, perhaps not even humanity itself, could fully control. But there was another problem. The galaxy was already beginning to fall apart. The political and military factions that once ignored humanity were now looking to manipulate it for their own ends. The Eclorians, sensing the threat, intensified their efforts to neutralize Dr. Dean. But they were no longer the only ones hunting her. With the truth now spreading, a new war was on the horizon, one that would force Dr. Dean to confront not just the assassins of the galaxy, but the very foundations of galactic power. As the stakes grew higher, Dr. Dean found herself facing an impossible choice: reveal the truth and risk, plunging the galaxy into chaos, or keep the knowledge hidden and allow humanity to remain an unaware pawn in a game that had been designed long before they even realized it. But one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same again. And as Dr. Dean looked over her research, she couldn't help but wonder what Nix, the assassin who had hesitated, might do next. Could he become an ally in the fight for humanity's future, or would he stand in opposition, determined to keep the galaxy's darkest secret buried forever? Dr. Alara Dean had uncovered much over the course of her research, but nothing could have prepared her for the revelation that would turn the galaxy upside down. As she decrypted more layers of the alien artifact, a deeper truth emerged, a truth so profound that it threatened to rewrite the destiny of humanity. The assassins, the Eclorians, and even the galaxy's most powerful factions weren't simply targeting humanity out of fear of their resilience or their unique biological traits. No, they were afraid of something much more dangerous: humanity's true purpose. The Exorliths, an ancient and long-extinct alien species, had created humanity for a reason far beyond mere survival or even warfare. Their creation was an act of foresight, a safeguard against a force older and more terrifying than any other. This force, known only as the Null Force, was an existential power of pure destruction. It was a galactic-level threat, one so catastrophic that its very reawakening would bring about the end of all life in the galaxy. The Exorliths had known about the Null Force long before the Eclorians rose to power. The Null Force had once been controlled by the Eclorians, who used it to dominate entire star systems. But when the power proved too uncontrollable, it was sealed away, hidden in the deepest corners of the galaxy. The Eclorians had feared its potential to destroy everything they had worked for, and had fought for eons to keep it contained. However, The Exorliths had foreseen the day when the null force would begin to stir again, threatening everything in its path. To prevent the galaxy from falling under the null force's overwhelming power, the Exorliths had done the unthinkable. They had engineered humanity as a failsafe. Humans were designed to be the ultimate protectors, biologically and mentally equipped to withstand the null force's manipulations, its mind-altering effects, and its world-ending reach. Only humanity's unique genetic structure could resist the null force's influence, and only humans had the mental resilience to stand against its will. For centuries, humanity had been unaware of their true role in the galaxy's future. They had lived as pawns, unaware of their significance, as they struggled through wars and conflicts that seemed to have no end. The assassins, sent to eliminate them, had always failed, not because humans were simply strong or lucky, but because humanity's true power lay in their mental immunity. The assassins' usual methods, telepathy, manipulation, and subjugation, had no effect on humans. Their minds resisted. This, Dr. Dean realized, was humanity's secret weapon, one that no other species in the galaxy could match. The more Dr. Dean uncovered, the more urgent the situation became. The null force was stirring again, and the galaxy was unprepared. With the passing centuries, the Exorlith safeguards had weakened. Now, it was only a matter of time before the null force could be reactivated, and only humanity could stop it. The assassins had never been meant to kill humanity. They had been an ancient experiment, one designed to keep humanity in the dark about its true purpose. This staggering discovery left Dr. Dean grappling with a profound question. What should humanity do now that they knew the truth? The galaxy was in turmoil, and their role in its future had become impossible to ignore. Should they rise to their destiny and claim their place as the galaxy's protectors, or should they remain in the shadows, leaving the galaxy to struggle on without them? The political landscape of the galaxy shifted violently in response to the revelation. Factions that had once ignored humanity's potential now found themselves fearful. They understood that if humans fully realized their potential, they could either become the galaxy's greatest hope or its most dangerous weapon. Some, like the Eclorians, saw this as a threat they needed to eliminate at all costs. They had always controlled the galaxy's darkest secrets, and were terrified of the rise of a new power that they couldn't control. But there were others, factions that had previously underestimated humanity, who now sought to ally with them. They saw humanity's resilience, their immunity to the influence of the galaxy's deadliest assassins, and realized that they might be the key to saving the galaxy from the null force. The Eclorians, torn between factions, found themselves split. Some factions wanted to destroy humanity before they awakened to their potential, while others saw humanity as a necessary ally in the coming battle. The once unchallenged Eclorian Empire now found itself facing a future where it might have to share its dominance or risk its own destruction. For Dr. Dean, the consequences of revealing humanity's true purpose were becoming increasingly clear. She was no longer just a scientist in a galaxy filled with political games. She had become the center of a cosmic struggle. Her discoveries had put her in the crosshairs of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. The assassins, now operating not only as agents of the Eclorians, but also as pawns in a much larger game, would stop at nothing to silence her and prevent the galaxy from realizing the truth. The galaxy's political leaders, who once looked at humanity as a mere curiosity, now recognized that they would either need to use humanity as a weapon or destroy it before it grew too powerful. But for Dr. Dean, the question remained, what should humanity do now? The stakes were far higher than she had imagined. Humanity was the galaxy's last hope, but they were also unprepared for the monumental responsibility that came with it. She had no answers, only the weight of the knowledge she carried. At the heart of it all stood Allura Dean, alone with a truth that could either save or doom the galaxy. As the null force grew closer to awakening, she realized that the decisions made in the coming days would not only shape the future of humanity, but could determine the fate of all life in the galaxy. Would humanity rise to their true purpose? Or would they remain ignorant of their power and allow the galaxy to descend into chaos? Dr. Dean could feel the weight of the coming decision pressing on her shoulders, and in that moment, she understood the cost of the truth. There was no turning back now. The galaxy was teetering on the edge of oblivion. A once stable and thriving hub of intergalactic life, it was now a fractured, unstable network of sectors, cities, and civilizations. The null force had begun its slow but unstoppable spread, twisting the very fabric of spacetime itself. Entire star systems were being destabilized as the null force's reach expanded, warping realities, disorienting fleets, and disassembling planetary infrastructures. What once seemed like an abstract concept, the force of annihilation that had shaped the galaxy's darkest history, was now painfully real. The Eclorian Empire, once a monolithic power, had fractured into competing factions. Some still sought to control the null force for themselves, desperate to reclaim the destructive power they had once wielded. Others, now aware of the full truth, feared it and sought ways to stop it. Humanity, though still a relatively young player in the galactic theater, had become a central figure in this battle, whether they wanted it or not. In the midst of this chaos, Dr. Alara Dean, having uncovered the full scope of humanity's role, was summoned to a galactic summit. Nixon, the once neutral hub of trade and diplomacy, now became the stage for this unprecedented meeting. Delegates from human factions, various species, and the now crippled Eclorian Empire gathered to negotiate humanity's fate and the galaxy's. Tensions ran high as representatives from every corner of the galaxy voiced their interests, their fears, and their desires. Every faction knew that the null force's growth could not be ignored any longer. Every faction was searching for a way to either control or contain it. But the solution came not from a brilliant weapon, nor an advanced fleet, but from Dr. Dean herself. After years of relentless study, research, and heartbreak, she had found the missing piece of the puzzle, the way to truly end the null force's spread, and perhaps its very existence. Humanity's immunity, its resilience, its ability to resist the assassination attempts of the galaxy's most deadly forces, all of these were not simply survival traits. They were the key to halting the null force. But there was a catch, a horrific cost. Humanity's immunity was not just a defense against external threats. It was also a defense against the corrupting influence of the null force. To stop it, humanity would have to place itself at the center of the galaxy's control, guarding the null force and keeping it sealed forever. They would have to become the silent protectors of the galaxy forever. Their identity, their cultures, and their places in the galaxy would be lost in the process. They would no longer be free to choose their destiny as individuals or as a species. The decision was agonizing, and Dr. Dean wasn't the only one who understood its magnitude. Price, once a soldier and a reluctant hero, had become a leader in humanity's struggle to find its place in the galaxy. He stood at the front lines of the summit, surrounded by a galaxy of representatives who were all demanding answers. The Eclorians, who had once viewed humanity as an insignificant species, now saw the potential in them, either as allies or enemies. The factions that had once viewed humanity as little more than pawns now saw them as the final bastion of hope or the most dangerous force the galaxy had ever seen. As the summit unfolded, it became clear that no one was ready for the truth. The decision was more than just a matter of life and death. It was a matter of redefining the very purpose of humanity. Should they ascend to the center of the galaxy's power, forever guarding the null force at the expense of their freedom? Or should they allow the galaxy to fall into chaos, leaving the null force unchecked? The debate raged on for hours, tensions boiling over, accusations flying, and distrust eating away at the fragile alliances that had been formed. Price, though haunted by the weight of the decision, knew there could only be one answer. Humanity had already been engineered for this moment, and to step away would be to do the galaxy a disservice. With a heavy heart, Price made the final call. Humanity would become the guardians of the galaxy, its protectors in the shadows, its silent sentinels. They would sacrifice their identity, their future, and their place in the universe. But they would save all life. They would stand between the galaxy and the null force, locking it away in a place no one could reach. In that moment, humanity became more than just a species surviving in a hostile galaxy. They became the galaxy's quiet defenders, its ultimate protectors, standing between the null force and the oblivion it would bring. The consequences of this decision were immense. Humanity would never again be free to pursue its own path or its own dreams. They would become the galaxy's unsung heroes, an eternal enigma, their true purpose known only to a few. As the summit ended and the factions began to disperse, Dr. Dean watched the stars through the observation windows of the Nixon summit chamber. The galaxy was at peace for now. The null force had been sealed away, its threat neutralized. But peace was fragile. The sacrifices humanity had made to protect the galaxy were immense. And as she gazed out into the stars, she realized that humanity's story was far from over. In a way, the galaxy was now safer. But humanity had become something they had never intended to be, something more than survivors, something more than conquerors. They had become the guardians of the universe, the eternal watchmen of the cosmos. But at what cost? Dr. Dean found herself questioning the future. Was humanity truly ready for the role they had taken on? Or had they just signed themselves into an eternal struggle to maintain the balance they had now created? As she pondered the consequences of their decision, she couldn't help but wonder, would the galaxy ever truly understand the depth of the sacrifices humanity had made? Or would they remain an eternal mystery, forever guarding the galaxy, but forever out of sight, their true role never fully realized? Only time would tell. And that uncertainty, that lingering question, would hang over humanity forever,